Mike Tyson once said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." This quote perfectly fits the actions of Xi Jinping. He always has grand plans, which are reinforced by his grand speeches. But when it comes to their implementation, the Jinping regime proves to be a damned squib. He has long been advocating the arrival of the Chinese century and the economic might of the East Asian country. However, since the double whammy of pandemic and economic fallout hit China, these claims have come crashing down quite miserably. The Chinese economy is sinking, but interestingly, China's woes are fueling massive economic growth in all neighboring China hawk nations. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Sanbir, and in this video I will tell you how every single Indo-Pacific economy is now growing exponentially at the cost of China. Let's begin. At the time when the whole world was engulfed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it seems Xi Jinping was preparing for his neo-colonial agenda. The Chinese Communist Party thought that it could capitalize on the disruption and replace the US to form a unipolar world order. However, things have taken an entirely different trajectory. And now, while China is facing the worst economic situation in the 21st century, Xi Jinping is currently passing through the most vulnerable time of his political career. And now, adding more salt into the wound, the exodus of businesses and capital away from China is propelling their neighboring countries' economies. The latest addition to the countries that saw a positive economic growth includes the Philippines. However, it is not just the Philippines, but other neighboring countries of China also have observed a rise in their fortunes. Throughout the Indo-Pacific, countries like South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Vietnam, and India are among many that have seen exponential rise in their fortunes at the absolute expense of China. Of all the neighboring countries of China, the case of the Philippines' GDP growth remains sublime. It has outclassed expectations. The Philippine economy grew by 5.6% in 2021, following a 7.7% increase in the fourth quarter as pandemic-related restrictions were eased, boosting corporate activity. With the International Monetary Fund releasing its latest economic outlook report, India's GDP has seen immense growth for the current fiscal. And with all these economies surging ahead, China has been on a path to declivity. In 2021, China's crackdown on private enterprise reduced the market of the country's major companies by over $1 trillion, while Beijing's tightening control on the economy comes along with the need of prioritizing high-quality growth that helps people over GDP maximization. The fact is, these are simply being done to appease Xi Jinping's massive insecurities. However, as the year ended, in a surprising move, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang, in a bid to stabilize the economy, called for tax cuts. This was considered a major pivot from Xi Jinping's Common Prosperity campaign that aimed at curbing the disorderly expansion of capital. However, anyone who follows the developments in China and keeps a keen eye on the authoritarian leader of the nation would tell you how astonishingly fragile his ego is. Now, to satiate Xi Jinping and feed his ever-growing ego, the Communist Party of China is ready to make 2022 the bloodiest year, thereby making 2021 look like a benign trailer. While the Chinese economy is bleeding with no possible reversal of trends in sight, the Indo-Pacific powers are encashing big bucks at CCP's expense. This is in contrast to what Xi Jinping had in mind, and this trend is most likely going to persist for the foreseeable future.